When I joined SAP Consulting, I did not have the slightest idea what I was gonna be up to. But it has been a hell of a ride for almost 10 years now, and it has been one of the biggest decisions of my life. It was certainly life-changing for me. In this video, I'm going to give you a breakdown on what the general career options are that are available in the market, what typical pay structures are, what the typical day of an SAP consultant looks like, and whether or not you can find out if this is a career path you might want to take yourself. So let's first talk about the obvious. A job as an SAP consultant will always involve some form of technical work. However, the field of expertise from which people join SAP consultancy are of course different, because SAP after all is offering services and software in different areas of business, being it finance, sales and distribution, marketing, logistics, warehouse management, and many more. So you don't necessarily need a technical background to join SAP Consulting. However, a certain curiosity for technology and the understanding that transforming business processes into code, automation, data is an essential core of SAP Consulting is definitely beneficial. In general, a job in SAP Consulting will combine knowledge in a certain area of business, for example finance, and technical knowledge that you certainly can gain through your initial training or certification program or by simply working on the job. However, there are also consultancy paths available for pure technology consultants who mainly need expertise in the technical area and will only need like interface knowledge with the different business areas. So they need to be able to facilitate communication with the different business areas in order to understand their requirements. And once you understand the requirements, the only thing left for you to do is to build the technical implementation behind it. A job in SAP Consulting, of course, has many advantages, the most prominent being that it is very well paid. For the US, Glassdoor is listing SAP senior consultant positions for up to 179K. And in Germany, the locally famous job platform Xing is listing SAP positions topping out between 150,000 to 170,000 euros as well. But let me tell you one thing, that this is not the tip of the iceberg. Typically, if you start taking more responsibility within a company or making it to partner in a big consulting firm, you can earn even more. However, please do not feel discouraged if beginner and entry-level positions in SAP Consulting are rated at a much lower level. That is just the typical salary structure in a consultancy firm. Juniors and trainees are typically earning less, so that the consultancy firm makes a higher margin on selling their personal hours, while the more senior level people are more focused on actually winning new project opportunities and therefore are more like the breadwinners or rainmakers for the company, while working themselves at a much lower margin for the company's benefit, netting them a higher salary in return. There are multiple reasons behind these prestigious pay opportunities. One is that SAP systems cover the most crucial business processes of a company. Most famously, the external finance processes that are used to draft and publicize the public accounting records of a company. Also, a lot of companies are managing their production of goods via SAP production planning software, or their overall logistics and delivery procedures, for example, by leveraging extended warehouse management. SAP also offers software that provides management with important insights like SAP Business Warehouse or SAP Analytics Clouds. By doing this, they are offering software that are used at the highest level management on a strategic level. So the most important business decisions overall are enabled, extended, and emphasized by using SAP software. Additionally, the most important business data overall is also stored inside SAP systems. So what typically happens is that the SAP system landscape sits at the center of an organization, while other technical satellite systems often have the requirement to retrieve or read data from an SAP system or write their data into an SAP system so that it can then be centrally used across the information technology landscape of an organization, or in order to analyze it for top-level management requirements. In stark contrast to that, the knowledge around SAP is not very widespread. This has multiple reasons. One being that the basic SAP technology stack is around since the 70s. So it is a technical solution that has been historically growing, and to really understand the depths of the system, it is oftentimes necessary to work multiple years, if not decades, in this area. Also, the entry hurdles for getting into SAP are quite high. It is not as easy as just picking up a book and start fiddling around with some system, because SAP systems are typically highly customizable to the actual customer's needs. So every SAP project you will be in will most likely be highly different from the previous one because of the high level of alignment that the SAP system a certain company uses has gone through. So with that out of the way, how do you get into SAP consulting? First of all, I want to emphasize that it is not necessary, it is not an absolute requirement that you take one of the official SAP certification exams. It might help you to go through officially SAP-backed training and to get certified by SAP in the typical knowledge area where you're interested in. However, oftentimes consultancy firms are offering their own training programs where you will gain the basic fundamental knowledge of working with SAP software and gain hands-on expertise working with the actual software solution. That said, having a certificate might put you in a closer circle of potential candidates to be hired because you already have some basic knowledge in the SAP space, so the company knows you're not starting from scratch and they do not have to train you from the ground level up. It is also not necessarily a requirement to have a university degree or to even come from the field area of expertise where you're interested in. There are a lot of people coming from other areas of expertise like math, physics, or even blue-collar jobs that after a few years of experience are actual rock stars in their consulting firm, managing huge projects in complicated business areas in finance, logistics, marketing, etc. But it will be a steep learning curve if you do not come out of the actual area expertise or have obtained a university degree in the area of expertise where you intend to make your field level entry in the SAP consultancy space. So typically, there are multiple ways to be successful in the SAP consultancy space. One is the classical way of the consultant who works as a full-time employee, climbing up the corporate ladder starting at entry-level positions. Maybe for the beginning you're taking a trainee program, you started a trainee, later you advance to basic entry positions like being an analyst or what is called a junior consultant, gaining more expertise, being the first level contact for a few customers will net you the title of senior consultant, and then from there you can develop yourself into positions which typically involve taking more responsibility and actually winning or managing projects, being it a project manager who is mainly leading the engagement at the customer side, or being an actual line of expertise manager in the the consultancy firm who is managing his team working for multiple customers at the same time. From there, you can take even higher positions up until being a partner of a firm, so you're directly participating in the company's success. Others might initially start out as an SAP consultant for a consultancy firm, but later make the exit into an internal position at an actual SAP customer. After all, SAP software solutions are critical to most companies actually using the software, so they are in dire need of employees, full-time employees, who have deep knowledge of the actual infrastructure and software. And also, of course, there is a lot of money at stake because SAP projects are usually very high in complexity and have a huge budget behind them. So employees working internally for an SAP customer may initially earn less compared to a consultant due to the fact that the consultant is actually netting profit for the consultancy firm he's working in, while the internal employee is basically keeping the system up that his company uses to make a profit. But if you gain more responsibility in managing these complex system infrastructures, you might actually earn similar or even higher compared to an SAP consultant. For example, a lot of people develop themselves into positions with high responsibility, for example, being the IT manager or taking a very prestigious project management or program management position, or being an enterprise architect who actually orchestrates how digitized business processes should work within an organization. At such a position, which you can relatively easily get into with an SAP background because it's such a critical system. With such a position, you're typically consulting on the top management level, meaning top management is actually turning towards you, asking questions how they should orchestrate new business processes that they're introducing. And of course, that brings typically an advantageous pay. Other people might actually develop themselves into an SAP freelancer. In this model, you are self-employed and working in SAP projects as a recognized expert, working on your own account and billing customers actively for your services. This, of course, typically comes with higher opportunity for pay because you are netting the full profit of your active hours. While on the other hand, the employed SAP consultant will only get parts of the profit he's earning for the consulting firm, while a lot is actually remaining within the firm itself. However, I first recommend gaining a few years of expertise as an employed consultant before making the move as a self-employed freelancer. Also keep in mind that as a freelancer, you can only reap the benefits of your own work. Whereas if, for example, you become a partner in a consulting firm, you can also benefit of the work of the people working under your guidance. Lastly, there is of course the opportunity to work for the vendor itself, SAP. They have multiple job opportunities publicly listed, being it for developers who actively develop and extend the functionality of existing SAP software, to actual consultants who work in projects for the different customers, to customer engagement managers who manage the relationship between SAP and the different actual customers. So the last question I want to answer in this video: where is SAP consultancy going? Definitely one of the most important things you need to keep in mind that SAP is more and more moving towards the cloud in the long term. But that doesn't mean that skills for example, ABAP programming or SAP technology knowledge is void. In fact, ABAP in the cloud is a big topic around this area. And SAP technology knowledge, like for example typical SAP basis consultancy, is here to stay. After all, a lot of customers still have one or the other SAP on-premise system around, and it will actually be a huge topic to deploy SAP software in hyperscaler cloud environments and integrate SAP software with other systems, and also integrate it with, for example, cloud-based APIs, or integrated with artificial intelligence systems, blockchain systems, and many more. After all, the SAP system typically sits at the center of a corporation's IT infrastructure landscape and needs to communicate with a lot of other solutions. With that, I want to wrap up this video and wish you all the best for your initial efforts in the SAP space. If you're interested in free content giving you a structured way of diving into the space, please subscribe to this channel, because I will have an entry-level SAP basic tutorial for all the different line of business areas around SAP. If you like this video, consider giving it a thumbs up, it greatly benefits the channel, and I hope I will be seeing you in the next video of this channel. Until then, have a good one, bye bye.